My name's... All right, okay, my name's Richie. I'm an addict. And, okay, I guess reading, please hold. Okay, public relation. I don't know how to start this. How do you start this thing?
Just read it.
Just read it. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Read the public. All right. Our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need to always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. If anyone here represents a media agency, please contact Jeff R. All right. The members of the North Central area of Narcotics Anonymous welcome you to the 6th annual We Grow with Love convention. We would like to thank you for joining with us in the celebration of recovery. We are deeply grateful to Narcotics Anonymous and find great joy in being able to express our gratitude here with you, our family. In Narcotics Anonymous, we are certain that when we come together to share our lives and our love with each other, a miracle happens. Our recovery takes hard work, courage, and commitment. Those are the things that we carry us through as we seek the spiritual growth that comes from working the 12 steps. Never alone do we do this together and for each other, knowing that we need each other because more than anything else, we grow with love. The preface to the basic text begins with this: the full fruit of a labor of love lives in the forest, and that always comes in its right season. For us, our season has come. Can I have someone read Just for Today? We don't have that? Want to read it off here, I guess? Is it in here?
My name's John. I'm an addict. Hey,
All right, John.
Just for today. Tell yourself, just for today. My thoughts will be on my recovery, living and enjoying life without the use of drugs.
Just for today.
I will have faith in someone in AA who believes in me and wants to help me in my recovery.
Just for today.
I will have a program. I will try to follow it to the best of my ability.
Just for today.
Through NA, I will try to get a better perspective on my life. Just for today. I will be unafraid. My thoughts will be on my new association.
People who are not using or found a new way of life. So long as I follow God's way, I have nothing to fear. Just for today. All right, thanks a lot, John.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, the workshop we have today, or the meeting we're having today, is dealing with feelings, and we have two speakers, and both of them will share about 20 minutes apiece with on their experience, strength, and hope with that topic. Okay, and I guess with that, we'll go with our first speaker, Skip, right? All right.
Skip, give it up!
I'm an addict. My name is Skip.
Skip.
Gratefully recovering to the grace of God and they probe many people. And I'd like to ask something of you guys today. Can you get the person next to you and kind of give them a hug and tell them that you love them?
Nothing to do.
All right.
I'm crazy about you. I'm gonna take this out.
Now that you guys are all in the mood, the person in front of you kind of give them a massage. No. I don't know about you guys, but I feel better. I don't know.
Hey, come on, John.
Hey, and who says we don't need excuses anymore? No. But I'm grateful to be here. Like I say, I always say, this is a happy place for me. When we talk about feelings, when I got here, I didn't know what real feelings were. I remember the knot in my stomach, man, when I wanted to use, when the dope was gone, and that was a feeling, because for me, it wasn't a thinking problem for me. It was a feeling problem. Because I never remember waking up one day and said, man, I think I'm gonna get high today. You know, I say, man, I feel like getting high. And guess what? I went out and got one, you know. You know, for me, it was always about feelings, you know. And most of them are negative. And today I know my higher power don't want me to feel those negative feelings. You know, that 90% of the time I bring those feelings onto myself. You know, the feelings of shame and guilt, remorse, all those things that it talks about in our basic text. You know what I mean? That you know, my higher power doesn't want me to feel. You know, he wants me to be happy, joyous, and free. You know, but left up to my own devices, man, you know, I'll be right back in that boat. You know, and it doesn't matter what end I'm in. You know, I'm feeling bad. Doesn't matter, you know, I could pick a feeling. You know, and if I get locked in it, because the disease of addiction, man, you know, it has those three aspects: obsession, compulsion, you know, and the total self-centeredness, the spiritual aspect of it. You know, so the bottom line, I can get locked into feelings. You know, my disease will lock into a feeling. The obsession about the feeling, that once I'm in it, I can't get out of it. And the bottom line is it's just about me. You know, the total self-centeredness. You know, but today, you know, I can experience some real feelings, some good feelings. And I'm grateful for that. You know, I'm not numb, because I used to get high to kind of numb my feelings. You know, to kind of escape. I used to say getting high was like the off-ramp on life, you know. And I would get on that off-ramp to escape going through feelings. You know, and today I can walk through those feelings, you know, and experience them, you know, with you people, you know, and the grace of my higher power, man, an unmerited gift, you know, which I don't deserve, but my higher power has laid on me, and I'm grateful for it. You know, today I know who to give the props to, and that's to HP, because he brought me here. You know, he gives me a roadmap. He gives me you people to help me work through my feelings, you know, and I fall short. And see, my higher power knows that. But he knows as long as I follow him and follow you people, see, you people are going to lead me back to my higher power. My higher power brought me here for you people to lead me back to him. You know, and he said, man, if you fall, get up and follow again. You know, and this is what I do today, because I do fall short. There's times where I revert back, you know, and it don't take much, you know, because all those old tapes are still there. You know, all those, you know, I feel like we have a conscious and subconscious, and subconsciously sometimes I'm acting out on stuff and I'm not aware of it until I'm already in it, you know. And it's like I have a trick question, you know, for my sponsors. I tell them, I said, man, you make a bad decision, what do? They look at me, all blah, 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 and, you know, I tell them, you make another decision to correct it, you know, because that's all we can do. We can't change that decision, but we can change the moment. You know, and we can live in this moment and change the decision, you know, make another decision to correct the one we made, the bad decision we made. But that's how we learn. For me, that's how I learn. You know, I'm one of those hard-headed addicts, man. I got to keep telling myself, there's a door, Skip. You don't have to go through the window or walk through the wall. Use the door, you know, and I need people in my life to let me know that. You know, and early in my recovery, I didn't know what I was feeling. You know, and that's why I needed a sponsor in my life. That's why I needed relationships in this program. You know, people let me know, hey, man, Skip, man, you know, this is what you're feeling today. You know, because I didn't know. And I don't know anybody can relate to this, but, you know, not knowing how you feel. I don't know, man, you know. I don't know what I feel today, you know. I don't feel this and I don't feel that, you know, and that's why it was important to have somebody, you know, with some clean experience, you know, in this program. Because when I got here, I could tell you 1,001 ways how to get high. You know, and I remember that feeling, and sometimes I still chase that feeling. I'm looking for the self gratification. I'm looking for the you know. We used to get when we did one. You know what I mean? The and sometimes I'm still guilty of that. Sometimes I'm still looking for that but I'm looking in other places. You know, I'm still looking for that self gratification, but it's in other areas of my life. And all this program gives me is an awareness. See, when I walked in here, man, I wanted to stop getting high. Bottom line, my boat was on fire. I wanted to stop, you know, and that's all I wanted. And they got here and they told me, gotta change. Change? What I gotta change? You know, put down the drugs now, Skip. You gotta change. You keep coming back, you will. You know, that's what they told me. You know, so I had, you know, and I got here and then, you know, they start talking about this God awareness and this self-awareness. You know, and I'm thinking, man, I didn't ask for all this stuff. You know, I just wanted to stop getting high, you know. I didn't ask for this awareness, you know, and it started to happen, you know. I started, you know, when I walked in the store and I used to stick things in my pocket, you know, and I started being aware of it. You know what I mean? I said, man, I can't do this. So I get by the, by the cash register, and there'd be a little pile there, because I knew other people were doing it, you know what I mean? And they had the same feeling. I started to feel the guilt, you know what I mean? Started to have some feelings. I started to feel the guilt of, of doing this stuff, and the awareness. This is the awareness, the God awareness, and the self-awareness this program started to give me, When I started going to meetings, man, and everybody started looking good and better, and I started looking at the skirts and the, the smiles and stuff like that, and I started to be aware of these things, and but when I went out to try to act out on some of that stuff, along came those feelings, because the bottom line, man, if you lay down with somebody in this program or out of this program, somebody's waking up with feelings. Somebody is. Whether it's me or whether it's the other party, somebody's going to wake up with some feelings. And there's nothing like going into a meeting, man. After doing something like that and those people are there, man, I felt this small. I felt like this sitting in a chair. Because I knew, I had the feeling. And again, the awareness kicks in. And I started to learn. Because there was a guy in this program, he told me, he said, Skip, make as many mistakes as you can in this program, but learn from them. That's the bottom line, because he knows how I am. He knows that, I learned the hard way, But again, the awareness of this program starts to kick in, and I work to the finish, and I talked about it in meetings, and I talked about it with my sponsor, and I talked about it with my higher power. And I was given some solutions, and I was given some suggestions. And then what do I do with them? What do I do with these? And that the bottom line is that was up to me. I always say that we come to a crossroad in life, and I come many a time, many a day, when I come to a crossroad in life, and I have a choice. It's just like this path down here by the lake. I see that path down the lake, man. It's grassy, the sun's shining, man, birds singing. There's the water, man, and I know that's a nice path. You people are walking on it, And then I see that other path, man. It's rocky, it's rained like last night, storming, and it's uphill, and there's something inside of me that draws me to that road, And I feel that it's the nature of this disease, the negativity, and all those other feelings, that draw me to that road. But I come to that crossroad again, and I have that choice and that awareness, and that God awareness and self-awareness. Today I take my shoes off, put my hat on, and I walk down that grassy road, because I know it's a lot easier. And it's getting easier to look that way. But it wasn't always that way. And I don't always take that road. I like to say, and I share with people all the time, I don't roll out of bed working steps. They don't happen automatically. Something has to happen in my life, during the course of a day for me to apply this program, because I don't roll out of bed doing it, and I wish I could say I do that, But God helps me deal with these feelings. There was a real spiritual part of my life when my mom passed away, and I was grateful to this fellowship and to my higher power to allow me to be there for my mom, in her last moments, and actually be there for her last breath. And that's all I asked my higher power for. And my mom helped me deal with a lot of my feelings, because for a long time, she was my strength, for a long time for me in my life. And it's funny how God works. God puts us in places and in situations, for us to grow. And for me, I went from a little timber to a big timber in that experience, because, I really grew through that experience. And I remember telling my mom, it's funny. We're always trying to buy what we're selling. You ever figure out how that works? I'm always trying to buy exactly what I'm trying to sell you. And to reassure my feelings and reassure my thoughts. But I can remember telling my mom it's going to be okay, and that it was all right for her, to pass on, and that we were going to be all right, But I was also telling that to myself and trying to reassure myself that it was going to be okay and that we were going to be all right. You know, I needed to hear those things. Sometimes I need to verbalize my feelings in order to deal with them, in order to walk through them. You know, because for so long I stuffed them. You know, I didn't want to let people know how I felt. You know, I had to keep this poker face, you know, and it's just like all the time, you know, when we come to the rooms, man, how you doing? Oh, I'm okay. You know, and we smile, oh, I'm okay. You know, and we're messed up inside, you know, and we got to open up, we got to let people know exactly where we're at. You know, and it's not always a pretty picture, you know. But today I realize that you guys are all having the same human experience that I'm having. You know, the similarities there far outweigh the differences, you know, in our lives today, especially coming to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. You know, we have so many things in common, you know, so many things, man, that we can help each other work through. You know, and sometimes it's like I said with those roads, we like to grab onto the negative, you know, and we like to lock onto that. Well, man, he dresses different. She talks different. He smiles funny. She looks funny, you know. I can, you know, and we start locking into those differences, man, and we don't connect. It takes away from the connection, you know. Today I got to see through that, man. I got to see the person, you know, that has those similarities, man. You know, there's a poem I wrote early in my recovery, and it's called Spirit or Illusion. You know, and for me, those things are real similar, you know, because they're unseen. You know, there's things that are unseen. You know, and you know, love, happiness, joy. You know, all of these are they illusion? Or are they a spirit? You know, and I had to ask myself, you know, on a daily basis, you know, is it a spirit or illusion? You know, but today I know that illusions of the mind. See, this is the bad neighborhood my disease lives in. Right up here between these ears. You can tell me anything. You know. And today I know happiness, joy, and all those positive feelings right here. They're from the heart. See, this is where my higher power lives. You know. This is what I feel with. Right here. These are extensions, but this is what I feel with. This is where it comes to. It's right here. This is where my God lives. And the God lives in all of us here. Whatever you want to call him. You know. This is his home for me. You know. So today I know that those illusions are lies, man. You know. They're untruths, man. And their steps are spiritual truths. They put us on that road to our higher power. They help us with our feelings and our problems. Steps, you know, help us with those things, but they don't take them away. See? I want this program, the steps, work like the drug. Stick it in a pipe, in a fix, in the bottom of a bottle. Bam, I'm there. Steps don't work like that. They help us deal with our face, our feelings. Own our feelings. Today I can own feelings. They're mine. You know, I don't have to lay them on other people. I don't have to say, you know, I'm feeling this way for this reason. I don't have to justify how I feel. If I'm angry, I'm going to be angry. My higher power allows it. As long as I don't take it to rage, because I can go there. This disease tells me I can go there. I don't take it to the extreme. You know, and I can own that feeling. It's mine. I don't have to justify it. You know, and sometimes I have feelings, man, and they're the ones that I don't want to share because, you know, today, like I said, I have some awareness. You know, if I say, man, you know, so-and-so really pissed me off in that meeting today, I think I'll tell them. You know, and I walk up to them, you know, and they, you know, they just share something, and they're feeling good about themselves, and here comes Skip. Man, you know, you really pissed me off. You know, and now I'm giving him mine. You know, I'm giving him mine. And today I don't have to attack somebody's spirit just because I'm having a feeling. Just because I'm having a feeling. See, today I know that I could take them to my higher power and deal with them just as easy than going directly to a person and attacking them and letting them have to feel the way I feel. I call that justice. Today I try not to do that. And again, I fall short. But when I'm aware of it, I can work through it and I can take it to my higher power instead of attacking someone and giving them hurt feelings, just because I'm feeling that way. And that's a learned behavior. Believe me, I didn't have that when I got here. I told you exactly how I was. I didn't care if I stepped on your toes. I didn't care if it hurt you, because I had to get it out of me. And that was my way of dealing with it. As long as I got it out of me, it was your stuff now. I got it out of me. I'm better. Let me go out my happy ways. Skip along. And leave you in the funk. And today I know my higher power doesn't want me to do that. I don't have to do that today. And I do have a choice. But whatever feeling you're feeling, man, it's gonna pass. Good, bad, or indifferent, all feelings pass. So if you're feeling good, enjoy it. Feeling good, share that feeling. That's definitely a feeling my higher power wants me to share, is when I'm feeling good. I need to hear that in meetings. I need to hear that on the street. I need to hear those good feelings, because I might not be going through such a good time. So you people give me hope that I can be where you're at. And if you're going through a bad time, it's going to pass too. And I'll help you enjoy the good times even more when you're going through a bad time. And know that your higher power, that you're not alone, that your higher power is there. Let people know who you are and where you're at. Open yourself up. Maybe we were just reading that today. Open yourself up and let people know. Because we're not mind readers in Narcotics Anonymous, man. If you're looking good and you're smiling, we figure you're okay. We're trying to put on the same mask you are. So it's funny how I go to somewhere and I start sharing something about something I'm going through, and somebody looks at me like, man, you too? And we're going through similar things, and it's funny how that works. My God definitely has a sense of humor, and He wants to keep me laughing, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for this place, man. If this is your first time, come back and bring somebody with you, because that's what they told me to do, and I do that every year. This is my sixth year here. And God willing, the creek don't rise, I'm going to come back for 6 more. And that creek starts rising, I got phone numbers. So I'll be calling one of you guys up. But feelings are okay. They're all right. They're not as bad. It's not as bad a deal as I thought it would be. There's some scary points. There were some scary points in my life. But through the grace of my higher power people, you people, like I said, we worked through them. We did. I did my little percent. You guys helped me out the rest of the way. But I'm grateful to be here. I'd like to wish everybody here love, peace, and recovery. I'll keep coming back.
Okay, I'm Richie. I'm an addict. And for our second speaker to share on this topic is John.
All right, John. Come on now.
Wow, what a beautiful bunch of people. My name's John. I'm an addict.
Hey, John.
I spent this whole last week with my house and my wife and my kids and my job and everything getting smaller in the rearview mirror, because I knew I was going to be here this weekend. Driving in, I started to get in touch with some of those pre-convention feelings and just the anticipation and the expectations and what's going to happen to John when he's here, and who am I going to meet and who am I going to see that I've seen before. And I got here and I made it over to that registration table and I saw that form that was asking for people to share. And I've been accused in my area of being too in touch with my feelings from time to time. I'm a very emotional person and I wear them on my sleeve. But I saw that, and I saw that Dealing with Feelings workshop, and I thought to myself, that's me. I've got a lot to share on that, and my head got really big, and I started thinking about all the different things I'm going to say, and man, I'm just real in touch with that. And So I signed it, and I felt really good about it. And I went up to Skip, and I said, "Man, you're sharing that. I'm going to share it too." And started telling people, if you can, come support me. And then yesterday morning, I woke up and I started praying for me to feel my feelings. And I got to do that quite a bit yesterday. Camp Mac and this convention always provides such a full range for me. I'm able to get up in the morning and go eat a really good meal, which I don't do the rest of the year. And then I get to go out and play a little basketball and get some sun, and then go over and play some volleyball and eat a good lunch and get some sun and come to a workshop and hear people share. And those are all feelings for me, that sunburn, the way that feels on my back, and that joy of getting that physical exertion and sweating and jumping in that ice cold lake, and then going to hear Kermit share last night, and getting to share with a couple people yesterday where I've been for the past year since the last time I was here. And man, when he shared last night, I literally sitting there, I felt a spear or something come right through the center of my heart when that man shared about making amends to his ex-wife. Because I had thought for a long time that I had, that I'd made amends to my wife, and that the hard amends, the adultery and those amends, that I had taken care of that. And I've never apologized to her for her not ever just being able to be who she is. And when he said that, man, I started bawling. And I bawled for a good 45, 50 minutes. And real cleansing, good, happy, joyous, free type feelings. And see, I didn't have that in my active addiction at a really young age. My father abandoned me, and I immediately went into the shell and started hiding from the feelings that were truly inside of John. And then through some being molested and running and hiding from those feelings. And I spent a large part of my life running and hiding from every feeling that John ever had or that was in me. And I got to the end of my active addiction, and I got to a point where there was no level of drugs I could put in my body to keep me from feeling the feelings that I was feeling. The drugs wouldn't do it, the sex wouldn't do it, the spending money wouldn't do it. And where I was, I didn't have anywhere left to turn but to a loaded 9mm. Because I would rather die than feel that rush of what was about to come over me. And that gun was right next to the phone, and I picked up the phone and called my sponsor, because I had been in touch with this program before. And he did what all good sponsors do, and wrapped his arms around me and told me he loved me and welcomed me back to the fellowship. And man, if you're early in recovery, you're a brave soul, and we love you, and keep coming back, because that rush of feelings that I got when I first started getting clean, that first 2 weeks, that first 2 months, just every feeling that I had run and hid from started surfacing little by little. And I've been very fortunate that my higher power hasn't seen fit for me to have anything more than I could handle. Yesterday, with all you loving, caring people here, I came in touch with some really vulnerable feelings, and my higher power put me in this place and put me with those feelings at the same time for a reason. But as those feelings start to surface, some of the feelings that I have on a day-to-day basis, and even today, are associated with some really shameful things that I've done in my past. And what I have to remember is that I'm sick, that I'm not a moral defective, I'm not a bad person. I have a disease. But as I'm having these feelings rush over me, Narcotics Anonymous has done some things for me. It's given me 12 steps that as I work those steps, thank you. As I work those steps, I'm starting to come in touch with what's really inside of John. And the process involved in recovery to me today, Skip talked a little bit about awareness, and that awareness of, as I'm walking around, beautiful Camp Mac, and I see that beautiful young lady walking by, and my mind wants to go where my mind goes, and have to close my eyes and shake it off, and look at the trees, but it took me how many years of active addiction and being sick and tired of living that way and feeling that pain before I finally got to a point where I was ready to change. So for me to think that just becoming aware of my feelings and of what's going on in John, just awareness isn't enough today. I've got to take that to the next level. A lot of the stuff I have to take to my sponsor because I can't share a lot of the stuff that goes on in John's head at a meeting. Just the nature of it. We all know what it is, And but a lot of that stuff I can bring to the meetings and I can share, and I can share with you people one-on-one. And I've had the joy of getting into some deep sharing sessions with some people around this fellowship. And I tend to, my brain thinks something and my mouth says it. And it gets me in some situations from time to time. But even then, that's not true what's going on with John, because what I'm thinking and what I'm saying isn't always what I'm feeling. Because I can be feeling down and I can be feeling blue, but I can walk around with a smile on my face and I can make you laugh. But when I sit down and I tell you that I love my life, I love my kids, I love my wife, I love you people, and I mean that. And when I sit down and do that, I feel that from in here. It's not coming from me here and out my mouth. It's coming from in here. And when I do that, you people respond and you give it back to me. And that keeps me alive. And it keeps me coming back because I like the way John feels today. If you're new and you don't like to cry, then maybe this isn't the place for you. But I'm going to tell you what. If you just stick around, you're going to have some bad feelings. You're going to have some shameful feelings. You're going to have some guilty feelings and some bad feelings. But just as powerful as those feelings are, the good feelings are tenfold. And they take me and they hold me and they keep me safe, alive, and warm. And you people have done that. I didn't do that. My higher power did that, and he did it through you people. I thought when I was coming down here and I saw that, in that rearview mirror, that I knew what John was coming here for this weekend, and once again I shortchanged myself and my higher power's ability to know what I really need. Even in recovery over the past 3 or 4 months, I've been hiding and I've been running from my feelings. And that stops today.
All right, come on.
I don't feel like I have a whole lot more to share, but if you can, and it's a hard place for me to go, and maybe a hard place for you to go, remember that feeling from time to time. That feeling I had when that 9mm was pointed at the roof of my mouth. When I'm feeling down and when I'm feeling bad. Today, it doesn't compare. Because I can bring that to you. I have a new way out. I have a new way of life. I have NA. And that's all I've got to share. Thank you.
Right. My name's Rich. I'm an addict again.
Hey, Rich.
Okay, before we open this meeting up for sharing, we'll open the floor up for sharing. I need to remind everyone that we are being taped here, and if you know which to be taped, just please let us know, and the taping person will stop the tape at that time. Okay, and we'll open the floor for sharing. Anybody want to come up here and share freely? Boy.
I'm Kim, and I'm an addict.
Hi, Jim.
Never been to Camp Mac before.
Welcome.
And, dealing with feelings, you know, I came up here and I had no idea what to expect, and I won't say I'd never been here. I'd been here like for a day, but it was raining, and that was last year, and but I've never spent the night. I've never done the whole get up in the morning and do the meals and the workshops and the whole 9 yards, and got up here Friday and walked around, met a bunch of people, felt really good, felt really peaceful, felt serene, found the trails, the trees, the lake. You know, at home for months, I go to school, I have a husband, I have a house, I have a son, I work 40 some hours a week. I go, which I'm sure none of you can relate to that. And I get up here, and my husband and my son are not here. School is over, work is at home, and I felt so peaceful. Got with some friends, went for this crazy walk through the woods at night. You know, had all these good, great feelings going on, and I was loving it. I just wanted to stay there. I was telling a friend last night I just wanted to bottle it and save it. And then, last night, I love Kermit, but doggone it, I wanted to kick him, because I allowed these feelings to come out that I didn't think were there, I wasn't ready for, that came out of nowhere. And I found myself sitting there laughing, and then I was crying. And then all these other feelings came out of, you know, abandonment issues and grief and remembering. My bottom wasn't a day, it was about 3 months. And remembering how I felt sitting at my kitchen table, not knowing what to do, where to go. I had tried to quit on my own at one point, and I couldn't. And I was alone. I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't have anything to do because I didn't know anybody who didn't get high. Every day when I get up, I am thankful for the program of NA, because, you know, when I was using, I'd have just gotten high, said screw it. All those feelings that I felt last night would have came up, I'd have just gotten high, thought about something else, stuffed them, whatever. But today I can feel them, share them, experience them, remember them. That feeling that I wanted to bottle, I think I have. It's here. And I can draw on it when I need to. And thank my higher power for the people that he's put in my life today, that when I do let that feeling go down a little bit where I can't remember it, I have people that I can talk to, people that'll help me remember how wonderful I felt when I was walking through the woods and looking at the lake and being up on that tower. I love this program.
Yeah.
I love working the 12 steps. You know, my brother went through a treatment program, and he was involved with another 12-step program, and I went through the family week and this and that and the other, but I never knew a program like NA existed for me. You know, I, for years, wanted to be loved by people who meant a lot to me, like my mother and my husband, for years. I've been married quite some time. And after coming to the program of NA, I have people who love me unconditionally, whether I'm in a good mood, bad mood, happy, sad, bawling my eyes out, or smiling, you know. You people love me for being me. And that's a feeling I'm very thankful, grateful for. Please keep coming back. I need you people. I need your hugs, your smiles, your sharing. Thank you for being here. I love you all.
I'm Robert. I'm a grateful recovering addict. Both speakers did a very, very wonderful job, you know. And I really, the last speaker, you know, it's hard for a man, at least for me. It's hard for me to really get honest and in touch with my feelings. You know, growing up being a man, just certain things we hide behind, you know. And that's one of the things I'm going through now, trying to learn how to be intimate, you know, and because, you know, for myself it's hard, you know, because I grew up with being a man, don't show your feelings, you know, because it's hard for a man to cry. You had all of us cry. I was sitting over there, I said, God, I'm crying. I brought him the cloth, you know. But you gave up a lot. You and Skip gave up a lot, you know. And I'm getting outside that myself. You know, I'm beginning to share exactly where I am, you know. Because if you go through life, for me, if I go through life, continue to whitewash it like it's not really there or it's not really happening, I know I'm gonna be tore up inside. I'm gonna be sick, you know, because I'm going through a lot of changes. As far as you know, I shared about a job situation that I went through. You know, I'm on my own now. I'm doing my own business. Scared as hell, you know. At first I said, I'm gonna do this, I can do this, and I'm good with what I do, but I'm scared as hell. You know, I stepped out on faith to take on my own position, but now we got, you know, my wife have her income coming in, and now for me, it's me creating a new income. And I have my good days where the money is right there and looking good, but then I have my bad days where I don't know where this money really gonna come from, you know. And we already have a set of bills and how we pay them, and I'm scared, you know. I'm scared because I go to thinking about, am I being a real man, making the money, bringing the money in like I'm supposed to? Because I'm used to just having a glob of money and saying, here, honey, go do anything you want. And now I'm at the point where each dollar means something. Each dollar is critical to us. And that's new to our household, you know. And I'm scared of that, you know. And then I go to questioning myself. Am I really a man? Am I, you know, I go to questioning myself, you know. And then I ask her, how you feel about me? Am I all right? Am I doing all right? And she look at me like, yeah, you're wonderful, you know. Oh, hell, you just saying that, you know. But that's what I'm feeling, and on the inside, I'm really tore up, and I'm struggling with that, you know. And I needed to let this job go, you know. I needed to let it go because having it, I was doing the wrong thing with it, you know. I was caught up in hustling on this job, you know, and I'm glad that I let it go before I end up in somebody's prison. It's hell going to prison clean, you know, and so I'm glad I let it go, and I'm glad I'm out on my own. But as I say, that fear is up in there, and to the men, I dare you to tell the truth. I dare you to tell what's really going on in the inside. And we're good at hiding shit. You know, are y'all? I'm wonderful. Skip did it in a nutshell. Because I have this smile on my face from ear to ear, and on the inside look like feel like a skeleton. You know, Halloween on the inside. You know, and I despise the women. Because, you know, a woman to walk up to each other and how you feel, oh, they go to crying, I'm messed up. And we can't do that. You know, John is one of the first persons I've seen do that. You know, and men, I dare you to tell what's really going on. What's really going on. And I guess I have my group of sponsee men, you know, and it pisses me off because I know they're going through struggle. Every one of my men sponsees, I say, hey, how you doing? What's going on? I'm great. Everything is, you know, but it's no damn life that's just that. You know, it's nobody life just that peachy cream. You know, and today I dare to tell the truth, you know. I shared about one of my sponsees who came to me and shared with me that he had AIDS. And I always I knew something was going on with him, but finally he walked up and he talked about it. And just like I told him, that's his business. I will never reveal his name, but I do talk to people about the situation because they can help me get insight on how to talk to him. That's right, Robert. And we need that. But men, I dare you to tell the truth. Pull a man aside and tell what's really going on. Because I know it's some raggedy shit in you because you're just like me. With that, thank you.
That's right.
I'm Megan, I'm a recovering addict.
Hey, Megan.
God always talks to me through you people, through the readings. Oh man, it's like, hello, yeah, you're here. When I was growing up, if I would cry, my mom would tell me, why are you crying? You're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to be angry. So I never learned how to actually express those feelings. And I still have a hard time today. Robert, when you were sharing yesterday, you triggered some emotions on a recent experience, which I've had before, and it seems to recur, and it brought up a lot of pain and a lot of fear. But I've realized today I don't have to act out on those feelings and, like Skip said, hurt somebody else. So yesterday, finally, I was able to do the right thing, go to the chapel, pray, listen, and follow through. And it's due to you people that I know how to do that today, so I don't have to hurt somebody else. Just because I'm hurting, that doesn't mean I have to lash out on somebody else. And I am so grateful to have that knowledge today, and I thank you all, and I love you all. And I'll keep coming back.
Good morning. My name's Mo and I'm an addict.
Hi, Mo.
Man, it's a good place to be every year.
Yes, it is.
You know, I was sitting here and I was listening to Skip and John, and thank you guys so much. Thank you. You know, and I've been sharing all weekend, you know, about feelings because they're so relevant. You know, like Robert said, you know, we women, we just, it just comes. It's like, and it's been coming out all weekend, you know, and I needed it. Because, you know, I thought about when I pulled up in the parking lot and I got out the car and I felt I'm free. Because I had been so pent up and so bottled up, you know, almost explosive with the feelings and the pain and the anger, you know, and I'm holding it. I'm talking to myself in the car by myself. I do it. I'm in the grocery store. I'm walking, and I'm always talking. And I'm like, I hate this, and I feel this, and these feelings. And I'm like, people are watching you, Mo. You know, what are you doing? You know. But I'm like, man, it's so powerful. It's like, whoo, I gotta do something with it. You know, growing up, and you know, as a little kid, I didn't know what feelings were. You know, all I knew was it was something that was going on inside me, and you didn't talk about it. You didn't share that with anybody. If you did, you probably got smacked in the face. You know, nobody's talking to you. Shut up. You know, you're not supposed to have feelings about what happens in your life or what happens to you. You know, you just shut up. I was telling somebody yesterday is that I can't hide stuff today because I remember as a little girl that I would explode because I'd have so much things. I used to sing this song, if I woulda, coulda, shoulda, because right afterwards I'd walk away and said, God, I should have said something. I should have did something. Why didn't I say something to defend myself or to help myself? I'd take whatever anybody gave me. It was all right. And I held it. I'd fall out kicking, spitting, throwing stuff. I just have fits because it was too much. Today, everything comes out. I don't hold none of it. I don't hold any poison today. If I feel it, somebody knows it. You know? You know it. And that's what I learned in these rooms. That's what you people gave me. Say, baby, you ain't alone no more. You ain't got to feel it by yourself. You reach out, you call somebody, you touch somebody, you share it. You give it to them. You know, somebody said, pain shared is pain divided. And I'm like, man, what a concept. I ain't got to do it by myself. You know? And I'm like, man, dealing with feelings, that's all I am. I got flesh and feelings. That's it. You know? And I remember getting clean and I was like, I feel stuff and I don't know what to do with this, but you know, this is different. You know, what I'm feeling. Today I thank God I feel. These are my feelings. I feel them, God damn it. And that's okay. I'm like, I'm feeling today. I'm not using. Because I didn't want to feel nothing. Please don't let me feel it, whatever it is. I'll watch it. Don't make me feel it. Man. So when I feel the pain, I have to accept that too, because that's part of me being alive. And I live today. I'm a part of the human race. I live. I'm not a zombie. I'm not, you know, I'm not the Walking Dead anymore. You know, so I'm living. I got to feel it. And it don't always feel good, you know. But when it does, man, you know, that's powerful too. This program is beautiful. You know, the principles of this program allow me to live today. Living's okay today.
Yes, it is.
Thanks for letting me share.
There you go.
Hi, I'm an addict. My name is Gail.
Hey, Gail.
I've never shared at a meeting like this before, but I kind of felt I had to. I don't know exactly why. So I guess it's because partly what the topic is and where we are, combination of the two. Because for me, that's like almost overwhelming in the feeling department. I love this place and I love you people. And I can't believe I got both in one place together like this, you know? I don't know if any of you feel it, but I feel it every time I step foot on these grounds. It's a spiritual feeling. It's all connected to my childhood, which doesn't have a spiritual feeling. It has a lot of black feelings to it. And this was the one place I got to go once a year for a week. There was no blackness. It was sunshine and light. Even if it poured down rain the whole week I was here, I was in a good place. A real good place. And then I got into my teens and I didn't come here no more. And I got into some more black stuff. It may have been green in color, but it was black. Because it was about hiding all the stuff I didn't want to deal with anymore. And that went on for years. And there was suicide thoughts, suicide actions. And I thought that was the worst it could get. And then I got clean. And about 2 months into it, oh my God, I was hurting so bad. And I went to a meeting and I shared and I said, I thought getting clean was supposed to feel good. I hurt so bad I don't know where to turn or what to do. You said I can't pick up to make it feel better anymore. What am I supposed to do? I thought I dealt with all this shit. Where is this all coming from? They said, you didn't deal with it, honey. You anesthetized it. That's all you did. You made yourself numb to that feeling so you didn't have to feel it no more. It's like, well, I'm feeling it now and I don't like it. What am I supposed to do with it? And they said, well, share it. Oh, no, you don't share this. This is bad stuff. You don't share bad stuff. That's bad, you know. I can't do that. I can't share all the bad that's in me, because then you'll know that I'm a bad person. And they said, no, you can't share nothing badder than what we've done too. So I tried, and the one meeting it was really, really bad. I went in, you know, and it was like 6 months clean, and it wasn't getting no better. I said, I'm still hurting, people. You promised me I'd feel better, and it don't. It feels worse. And they said, but you're feeling, aren't you? And that's okay, because that's your feelings. And it took me a while to think about that. I went home and I thought about it, and it's like, okay, I'll feel it. I don't really think I got much choice in the matter at this point, but I'm going to feel my feelings. And I went back and I shared again. I said, well, I did what you said. I'm feeling it, but, you know, it's still not going away. And they said, well, you know, it's not about going away. It's about turning it over and thinking about it, and then turning it over to your higher power and letting him say what's what. And I did that. And it was like a little voice in my head said, I love you. You're okay. And the pain started to go away. And I didn't have to pick up to make it go away.
All right.
And that was a totally new concept to me. I never heard of such a thing. I never heard of this program, you know, before. You know, that was just a totally whole new experience for me. And people said, I love you. I said, well, you don't even know me. They said, that's okay. We love you. And my own family never told me that. So they said, well, we are your family. You are my family? You don't look like my family. But you are my family. In more ways than my own family ever was my family. And I'm so happy to see you all here in the one place from my childhood that was such a good place. Because now I am in a good place in my life. And I still have bad feelings and I still get those black thoughts occasionally. But I'm not afraid of them anymore. I don't feel like I have to do something drastic to make the pain go away. Like y'all said, you know, experience shared is pain divided. And that was a totally new concept to me. And I really appreciate you all for being here. And I appreciate you letting me share. And then
We love you. We love you.
Hi, I'm Tammy. I'm an addict.
Hey!
This is really cool to do this. What I like to share is like how I feel right now, and I feel like I want to choke. You know, I really do. I haven't felt this lump in my throat since I was real little, and it's like weird. And I was trying to place where I got that lump, and that lump in my throat was from being happy and crying. You know, and there were some pretty scattered times in my family life, but I think it all started later. This is my first convention. And the beautiful feeling about that is because the group that I got involved with, I've been in the program for a while, and I left a certain county because I just didn't feel like anything was working, and I came to another county. And in 2 weeks, this one group just wrapped themselves around me, and they were carrying me through this. And I started getting stuff. I started getting it, and I became active in my church. But this particular group, I started doing this coffee, and I did all the things I was supposed to do, but it was because of this group that I was involved with. And through this group, someone had won a free trip. And then they weren't going to go, so they gave it to someone else. And it was just this feeling, beautiful feeling, that, they chose, maybe you want to go. And it was me. And I went through a lot of feelings about going. I don't know I'm that good, all the insecurities. And then, I needed to be here. God wanted me to be here. And I went through some beautiful meditation things yesterday and realizations. But sitting in that chair over there and listening to you for the second time, and this gentleman, Skip, and you hear these things at tables, but it's so much different in a convention. And I want to choke. I want to cry. I'm like, I don't want to feel this because I feel like I don't know what I feel like. And I'm shaking in here, so I'm like, whoa. But one thing I am grateful for is just my group, because I have a connection. I really do. I haven't spent much time with these people. This is their third year here. But I know it's because I'm supposed to be doing things at my pace, at my time, and I'm glad that I'm clean. I'm glad that I'm at my first convention, and it's in a campground area, because I just don't like that idea of the hotel thing, and feelings are really cool now for me, because I've got through 2 bouts of that without using, and I've had 4 relapses. And I've run from the feelings. And I always thought it was because of this person or this situation. And then all of you seem to have a lot more than I do. But I know now that it's not about the person, that it's about the feelings. And I got through it. And it's the second time that I've gotten through it. And I'm on my way. I'm seriously, I feel like that I'm really on my way. So I love you and thank you for listening to me.
Come here, Brian.
Don't worry, they'll start pushing you in a second. I'm an addict. My name's Ross, and I have a lot of fear right now. That's why I need a little kick in the butt to get over here. But I heard a dare and I had to come. And for me, feelings was the one thing that I always ran from. And in my active addiction, my whole approach to feelings was less is best, and I could really identify with that anesthetized, and I could really identify with my whole being at that moment in time was about being dead and being a zombie inside, and it was a real wonderful experience, I guess, when I got to be clean for a little while and experience a wide range of feelings and emotions. And I thought it sucked pretty much. And the one thing for me that I really wanted to talk about when I headed up here the first time was for me, I have to really be aware that feelings aren't facts. And the reason I say that is because I spent a lot of time afraid to do anything. Afraid that you guys wouldn't love me, care about me, or accept me for who I was. And it took a long time for me to overcome that fear and open up and allow people to get to know me. And one of the biggest struggles I've had in my recovery is being at work and it's a beautiful day, work's going smooth and nothing's wrong, and I get this paralyzing fear that something bad happened. And I know through working on some things that's just abandonment and other shit that's happened to me before, and just realizing that a simple call to my sponsor and saying, this is the way I'm feeling, and he'll be like, okay, just it's going to be all right, things is, life is the way it is, and getting through that and realizing that I didn't have to run and hide, I didn't have to go cop, and that there's people out there that still care about me, and then I'm not alone. For me, those feelings of despair and loneliness and isolation that I felt when I got here have diminished a lot and been replaced by the feelings of acceptance and love and caring, and that's, for me, one of the best blessings I've ever had. And that's all I got.
Hello everybody, I'm an addict called Brian.
Hey, Brian!
Complacent addict. I've heard a lot of people getting honest here, especially John. He more or less told my story. I'm new in recovery, I could really never talk about, I talked to my sponsor, and I like to thank my sponsor, Skip, for sharing, and the other person I gave the lead, John. And John was sharing, and, I just felt like telling my sponsor, you want to know what's going on with me? Talk to John. Because it's hard for me to get in touch with my feelings, like my man was sharing. It's hard for me to tell how I'm feeling. Most of the time I'm learning. Someone asks me how I'm doing, I'll say better. And half the time I'm not. I've been in this, in part of my recovery where I got the couple cars now, I got the house, I got the dog, I got the fiance, I'm getting a lot of things. And my program's falling behind when it should be first. And coming around here, I wouldn't have them things, and having these things ain't making me happy. You know, it's, you know, I know as long as my recovery comes first, you know, then I could be happy and grateful for the things that I have. Because, you know, I know today that, you know, God led me to this program. You know, God's not going to keep me clean. He gave me the tools of Narcotics Anonymous and the fellowship to keep me clean. And, you know, through you people and my sponsor, I've been starting to build a little better relationship with him now, and it feels a lot better. You know, I know when I'm not working on myself, you know, and I try to instant gratification, I'll go buy me new toolboxes, new power tools. It'll be all right for a while, but eventually they end up sitting in the garage or, you know, or whatever. You know, but I don't know, I just, you know, I want to get honest and, you know, free myself from a little bit. John talked about growing up, you know, his dad leaving. See, I haven't worked the fourth step yet. And I got all these things lingering in my head, you know, what's going to go on. You know, and a lot of times I just want to block them out. Still battling the feelings. And, you know, John's talking about, you know, his dad left. You know, I always used to say, I don't care if he died. I hardly knew him. You know, what's the point? You know, I didn't need him. You know, I felt my mom did a good job, you know, did the best she can. She did a good job. You know, but, you know, I remember, you know, him leaving. You know, then he talked about getting molested. You know, I went through that. And then he talked about, you know, at the end of his addiction, you know, I had a shotgun in my mouth, praying to God that I could pull the trigger. And, you know, shortly after that, I went, you know, to a rehabilitation center. And, you know, that I'm grateful for. And, you know, through, it wasn't really NA meetings, but it was an H&I deal. Through that, you know, I got led to Narcotics Anonymous. That's why I'm grateful for them. And I just like to thank everybody for being here. And I love you all.
Hi, I'm Jesse. I'm the addict.
Jesse!
See, I'm a sophomore in high school. You know, my freshman year, I was involved in cheerleading, gymnastics. You know, the basic things the you know, high school girl does. You know, you go out and party. You know, little this, little that. And I can tell you, I can remember about nothing in my freshman year. Complete blur, because more than 50% of the time I was high. You know, we would go before practice, you know, outside, oh, hey, you know, let's go do this. And then we would go to practice, and a lot of us would get hurt. I regretted, you know, I didn't get to go to the competitions that everyone got to go to because I was hurt, or you know, my grades weren't good enough. And, you know, and then they kicked me out of my high school. And I started going to an alternative high school this year. And a friend of mine said, Jesse, why don't you come to our school's NA meeting with me on Friday? I was like, sure, dude, whatever you say. I don't need this. What's your thought? And I sat there, and, you know, I knew everybody. You know, they all went to schools. You know, they all went to school with me. And there was like 10 of us. And everybody's going around the table, you know. Everybody's saying hi and clapping their hands. I was like, what is this? And I kept going back because she kept saying, Jesse, come with me, come with me. And I finally got the picture. Hi, dude, I'm going to this to stop doing drugs. So I stopped, and I would always get to that like 2 months and 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, right before I got that nice 3-month keychain, and I would relapse. I've done that I don't know how many times through the course of this year. And it's because I have a fear of success, you know, knowing that I actually might have accomplished something, you know, actually maybe done something with my life. And, you know, I'm all like, no, you know what, I can just do this, and then it's fine, I can end it there, and everything's cool. And you know, the same thing with everybody else who came up here. You're getting high to get away from the feelings that you don't want to feel. You know, when something's going on at my house, you know, I come home late, I'm fighting with my mom, you know, I'm all high. Sure, Ma, whatever, I'm going to sleep, get out of my face. And, then she'd barge in the room and we'd yell and argue, and I'd be like, bye, I'm leaving. And I'd go out, call up a few friends, hey dude, where's Jugs at? And, my ma stayed up endless nights, waiting for me to come home. Times I didn't come home for weeks at a time. Just like, sure, whatever you say, ma. I ain't doing anything wrong. Just having fun, normal teenage rebellion. Then I started to realize it wasn't such a normal thing. I just thought, that one drug, that was it, But coming in AA, I found out that one's too many and thousands never enough.
That's right.
I thank Carol and Bonnie for, bringing me here.
Talk about it. All right.
Yeah.
Love you. We love you.
We love you.
Go, baby.
And, I have my family and everything, and they say I love you, and I don't even know I have to be here, and everybody loves me, and it just feels really good.
Yeah.
This whole place is started.
Where's John?
Where's John?
Yeah. Yeah, you walk outside, get some air. John, you started it.
Don't get me brother.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, Griffin.
Free yourself.
Yeah, free yourself.
I'm an addict named April.
Hey, April.
Boy, this is the topic for me. Right now I'm feeling real nervous, But I'm coming up here anyway just to get free, like I just heard somebody share. John started it, so I'm gonna end it. I just heard so much, and the sister that just shared, she didn't even have to share nothing, and I started crying because it just took me back to some feelings, I started off at a young age, getting high. It was like I took the role of being grown. So I thought, at a real young age, it was just, and it just took me back to a lot of feelings, because when she was sharing about the schooling, see, I didn't complete high school, that feeling of feeling stupid, I feel that a lot, like I'm stupid, I don't know nothing, and I go through them feelings a lot, but coming around here, and thank God for the awareness, that I ain't stupid, to realize that I'm not, But my thinking to tell me that a lot of times, and I go into that I'm different from y'all, it's something wrong with me, because it ain't y'all, it's something wrong with me, I just know being here, I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be here, and that a lot of things have been coming up, a lot of feelings, because for years, y'all, I thought I could never be jealous of nobody, and to have them feelings, it was like, wait a minute now, where is this coming from, and I just a lot of things, because I really sharing, I have a problem with sharing, getting out because I want to think I can't express myself, you know. Like I don't know how to, you know, because I was always told as a child, you know, I was always called a lot of bitches, you know, and excuse my language, but I was just, you know, cussed out a lot and you don't know nothing, you know. Why don't you just shut up because you stupid, you know, shut your stupid ass up, you know, and it's, you know, and I started believing it, you know, but I just know I'm just glad to be here, you know, and it's okay to feel like you were saying what I'm feeling, you know, just to go through it, you know, and then because I always medicated, you know, I always got high and behind every little thing, it didn't matter, you know, I just got high over it, and I'm just grateful to be able to feel it, you know, to be going through it, you know, so I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad you people are here for me. Thanks.
One more? That's it? Okay, that's it? Oh. Well, we got, my name's Rich, I'm an addict. We have 5 more minutes.
Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
Well, maybe the young man would want to.
Yeah.
Do
it!
Hi, I'm Tony. I'm an addict.
Hi, Tony.
I was in about middle of 8th grade. I started using drugs. I got into fights with my parents a lot. I felt it wasn't right. I didn't even think about it at the time after I started using. I was using with my friends and all that constantly. Kept getting in fights with my parents, and finally just got out of control. I felt it wasn't right. Then I started doing stupid things. Me and a whole bunch of my friends were in my back garage my freshman year, middle of January, and we decided to start my back garage on fire. Didn't even think about it. And that scared the living hell out of me. So I was like, this ain't right. I don't want to get in a lot of trouble in that. The cops, police and all that. So I just started like going on NA. Felt it was a good idea because I didn't want to be in fights with my parents all the time. I came in a couple times high. Felt really bad about it. Felt guilty like the next day. Getting in fights with my parents. Just wasn't working out too well. So, and it's been helping me a lot. I'd like to thank Bonnie and Carol for helping me through.
Yeah.
My life's been going good lately. I have 2 jobs. I work at the Hyatt and Jewel Food Store. I still attend school. 2 schools actually, Harper College too. My life's been going pretty good.
You just had a year.
I'm Jenny. I'm a recovering addict.
Hey, Jenny!
And Carol told me that we were going to be talking about feelings, so I have a poem that I want to sing.
All right. Take us on.
It's called Feelings. Alone, confused, lonely, and scared, these are the feelings which I fear. I will not run from them, I will not hide, but together as one they will continue to be tied. Alone is the feeling I get when no one is by my side. Confused is the feeling I get when someone has died. I feel lonely when I cannot have you near, and scared when I look at myself in the mirror. This is not who I am, for I know I can change, but days will not pass when my feelings won't range. They will range depending on where I am and who I am with, but at the end of every day it is the real true me that I will always miss.
Yeah. All right.
When Carol and Bonnie first told me about this convention, I wasn't too sure that I wanted to come, but now that I came, I'm real happy. There's a lot of people out here that I care about, and I know they care about me, and I'm happy I came. And when I started using, I'd go out on the weekends and wouldn't come home. And my mom never knew where I was, and my uncle was in the hospital and he was real sick, and I took off that weekend because I couldn't handle it. And I called my mom from my friend's house when I was high, and I asked how my uncle was, and she said he died. And it was real hard because we were real close. It was like my father. And they said that they were watching him in the hospital and he took his last breath, and I wasn't there. I was out getting high because I just couldn't deal with it. But I just want to thank Carol and Bonnie for being here, helping me along the way. And that's all.
New table leader.
Okay, my name is Richie. I'm an addict.
Hey, Richie!
And I'd like to end this workshop with on time, I guess, with a group hug and a serenity prayer.